Welcome back to the STRIVECast, episode number 4. Can you believe it? We have made it through three episodes, and we are now on episode 4. Thank you to all who have been listening to our past episodes. And again, if this is your first time listening, welcome to the STRIVECast. I am your host, Olivia.
And I'm Pete.
I'm Jeff. I'm Noel.
And we bring you the STRIVECast every Tuesday from South Portland, Maine.
If you haven't checked it out, past episodes are available. You can now find them on iTunes as well as our website at pslstrive.org/STRIVECast. You can also send us an email at strivecast@pslstrive.org with who you'd like to see on the show, some questions for the men that are doing the interviewing, and other just random thoughts and ideas you have. Or give us any feedback that you might have from the first couple shows.
Yeah. Oh, we are yawning. It is an early morning for us here at the STRIVECast. Gentlemen, how are we feeling this morning?
Nice.
Feeling nice?
Yes, I'm very wide awake right now.
Very wide awake. I love it.
Excellent.
So
We've got a big show today.
Yeah, we have a big show today because our guest today is Shannon Moss from News Center, Maine. You know, a local celebrity around these parts, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And Shannon is a longtime friend of Strive, or FOS, as we refer to some folks. She has been volunteering at Strive events and helping promote Strive events for the past forever.
Yes.
And we can't thank her enough for all she does for Strive, and we are so excited for you guys to hear our interview with her.
And Jennifer.
Okay. And when we come back, we will check in with the boys, and then we will head right into our interview. So we'll be right back. And we're back, and here is Noel with a little info about our guest, Shannon Moss.
Shannon Moss is a reporter at the News Center, Maine, in Portland, specializing in general assignment reporting. Shannon is no stranger to Maine airwaves, having spent more than 14 years as a television anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And reporter in the Portland newsmaker market. Over here. Shannon lives in Portland area with her husband Andy and her 2 sons,
Quinn
and
Rowan. Awesome.
Please welcome
Shannon Moss.
Thank you. It is so great to be here. This is awesome, by the way.
Thank you. We are so thrilled to have you. You guys happy she's here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is so good to see you two gentlemen. I like it. The headphones.
From a long time ago.
That's right, from a long time ago. I love it.
Yeah, you guys looking good this morning. Oh, you're welcome.
And Jeff is going to get us started to try to get us back on track. Jeff, do you want to kick off with the first question with Shannon?
Yes. Why did you want to be on the news?
I love this question. Okay, so 8th grade, I was in a career day audit. It was my junior high auditorium. We had a career day, and there was a local news anchor who was there talking about his job. And I remember sitting there, and I had my, blue English folder on my lap, and I said, that's what I want to do. His job just sounded so interesting, all the people that he met, all the stories that he got to cover. And I remember thinking, that's it. So from that moment on, I knew that's why I wanted to be on the news.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think you maybe want to be on the news someday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
Well, you're well on your way. You
How
guys
are you?
are professional broadcasters right now. This is part of your resume. You realize that. That's big.
Building a media empire, right?
Find us on iTunes.
Happy iTunes. All right, Noel.
What are a couple of favorite stories that you have covered?
Oh, this one's always a hard question. My very first story is one that I always remember because I was brand new, my first time on the air. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was a story, I had to cover Mother Teresa, of course, who's, now a saint. So my very first story at a small little cable station in Fall River, Massachusetts, was Mother Teresa coming to visit New Bedford. And I'll never forget, I'm there and I'm all nervous, and there's reporters from Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston, and everyone was there, and here I am, like, oh my gosh. And then the co-anchor, one of them, called in sick, and I had to also anchor the show. So that was my first day ever on, my first on-air
story.
presentation. It was a big story. But interestingly enough, a few stories, a couple years later, I was still in Fall River, and I was talking with a priest that was at the church that she had visited. And I told him the story, and I always kind of say that she blessed my career, or I think she will. And he came back and gave me a medal that she had blessed that I still have to this day. Wow. So that's always very special to me. And then a couple of the other favorite stories that I've done are just some that just you meeting interesting people that do really incredible things. And a Get Out Alive series that I did back in the early 2000s. It was working with firefighters and police officers and first responders and just showing people how to get out of sort of dangerous situations. We burned a house down. That was part of a training, not someone wasn't living there. And to show people how you would get out, why you stay, you crawl low and all those kind of things. So anyway, those are some of my favorite stories.
Awesome.
Strive Rocks Dance Marathon?
Oh, of course, but that's just a given.
Okay. Good.
All the
Just
Strive
checking,
stories.
right?
I think there also might have been a time when you met a strapping young cop on a story. Is that correct?
Is that here? Oh, it is. Yes.
Sure is.
Yes, that this is true. Actually, I just told one of my coworkers this story yesterday because she asked how I met my husband. And I was called out of bed at like 3:30 in the morning. There was an explosion at a dry cleaners in Falmouth on Route 1. And I got there and the news had started, so they wanted us to, do live shots. But all the firefighters were busy putting out the fire. So I turn around and there's this cruiser and I'm like, ugh, because police officers never like to talk to the media. And anyway, long story short, he sang like a canary. He was telling me all sorts of information. And, 14 years later, we're married with 2 boys.
Wow.
So.
What do you think about that, Noel?
Good.
Yeah.
That's really
See,
good.
you never know. You never know when you're going to meet someone.
Your future wife, Noel.
See?
Could be a cop.
Or a fellow
He's
broadcaster, or
thinking-
who knows?
Yeah, but that's a good
What makes a good news story?
That's a good question. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that. That's a really good question. A good news story has a lot of good components. It has interesting people, someone with a great story to tell, something that's very visual because we're television, so we're a visual medium, so we need something that has a lot of great sound and a lot of great pictures, emotion, something that brings out the emotion in people, and just someone that has a great story.
Yeah. Right, Noel?
Like a lot of people at Strive.
Yeah.
That's why they make great news stories,
They
absolutely.
sure do.
You used to have your own radio show. What advice do you have for us?
The single most important piece of advice I can give you is to be yourself.
Yeah.
You guys
See,
pretty
you
good
knew
at
that.
Yeah.
That's it. Be yourself, whoever that is. Don't try to be someone else because it won't be authentic. It won't be genuine. So if you just be who you are and don't be afraid to be who you are, and you're going to be great. You can't fail.
You guys are pretty good at that, right? Pretty good at being you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
You look very natural. You guys feel really comfortable doing this?
Yes.
Yeah,
That
you
is
look
correct.
it.
Thank you.
See, I'm going to start asking the question. I'm going to turn this around.
Well, the lightning round's coming up, and you'll see a little bit more of them
Of
come
their-
out, their
yeah.
personalities
Okay.
in that.
Good.
For sure.
Who are you role model?
Who are your role models?
Who are your role models?
Who are my role models? Wow, this sounds always so silly and corny, but I always go to my dad still. My dad is my number 1 role model. Always has been, always will be. He's
I'm-
just, right?
Yeah, I think 2 guys in this room feel the same way.
Oh, really? Oh, see?
Jeff's
Yeah.
a big fan of his papa.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff?
I know, your dad's awesome. I know both your dads.
2 great
It's
gentlemen.
my dad.
2 great gentlemen. Yes, he's taught me a lot. He's always had great advice, and he's just someone you I continue to look up to. So he's by far my best role model.
Right?
Yes. Oh. What will the news look in 20 years?
That is another good question. The news will completely be unrecognizable from what it is now. It already has started. I sort of took a 5-year hiatus and am back, and even I don't recognize some of some of it, or that just to see how much it's changed. Everything now is digital. Everything, right, is about the internet. So news, even in our newsroom, we have the sort of on-air coverage, and then we have the digital coverage. So not only do we do stories that air on the news, we have to do entire stories that air simply on the internet, on our website, on our social media pages. We always have to think about digital. In fact, it's actually digital first, and then the broadcasting part second. And then years from now, I don't even know if you'll see the typical 6 o'clock news anymore. It may all be just online.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll change dramatically.
Well, we're definitely glad you're back from your hiatus.
Thank you. And I'll be retired in 20 years and with my feet up hopefully, and up in a chair with a cocktail. So I'll be watching from the beach.
So my mom and my dad usually watch the Today News. It's Cousin Daily.
Oh,
Good to know.
yes, that's good.
What do you guys think you'll be up to in 20 years?
Yeah.
I probably I will be in the future.
You will be in the future.
You will be in the future.
Correct.
What will we be doing 20 years in the future?
Maybe having fun with Pete.
Who doesn't want to have fun with Pete?
So-
Now or in
Boy.
20 years? Oh,
20 years from now.
So what about
That'll be
you?
something.
Yeah, no, what are you up to 20 years in the future?
Okay.
STRIVECast is nationally syndicated. and
Not to do that. Yep. What else are you going to do in 20 years?
I don't know quite yet.
Do you have
But-
any goals you want to do in 20 years?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about them.
Not bad.
Okay.
And eat healthy
That's a good one.
and work hard and focus and not get in trouble.
Wow.
Do you
All
guys
good
want
goals.
to go on like any vacations anywhere? Any places you want to visit? that
Oh,
you've never been
yes.
before?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, where?
The
I want to visit Japan.
You do?
Really? Why?
I think because if I wanted to, I could study the Great Wall.
That's in China, Jeff.
Yeah, that's
You
what
want
I
to
do.
go to China and study the Great Wall of China?
I know where I want to go.
Where do you want to go?
To the great, what is that? The waterfall place.
Niagara
Oh,
Falls.
Niagara
Yes,
Falls.
Niagara
Hmm.
Falls.
That's
Which
great.
side? The Canadian side or the New York side?
The New York
The
side.
New York side, yeah.
Awesome. Great answers, guys. So I have the next question for Shannon, our actual guest, bringing it back to the interview, roping it back in here. So, Shannon, you met a high school student at a Strive Rocks event many years ago who is now actually a news personality here in Maine. Can you tell us about that story?
I sure can tell you about that story. Yes, Katie Zarilli. I remember I hadn't got on stage yet to kick it off, and she walked up to me. She was, of course, raising money, right, for Strive Rocks. And she was a Gorham high school student, and she said, I want to become a news reporter. And I said, she was just, Pete, what are you doing over there? Pete's phone always going off.
Jeff's phone.
Oh, it's Jeff's phone.
Always.
Jeff is
Sorry.
much more popular than me.
Throwing Pete under the bus.
It
Oh,
was-
yes, I am.
It's all the ladies are calling you right now.
Yes, all the girls.
So Katie Zarilli said she wanted to be a news reporter, and so she was just so energetic. So she started coming in to see me in the station and spending some time, and then she went to school, obviously, and majored in journalism, and yeah, she's working in press gal right now.
And now it's time for our next segment, which is everyone's quickly becoming and sweeping the world, everyone's favorite segment on the STRIVEcast. It is time for the lightning round. Gentlemen, let's cue the lightning round.
Lightning round, lightning round.
Lightning round, lightning round, lightning round.
We were lightning round.
get right on to the lightning round. So Shannon, the boys are gonna give you some questions, and you can rapid fire responses. So I think Jeff is gonna kick off with
Knife or fork?
Fork. This is stressful.
Reporting the news or making the news?
That depends on the day, but I'd say reporting the news.
Good answer.
Jeff.
Yes.
Yep.
That's my name.
You got the next one. Interviewing.
Oh, that's easy.
Interviewing or being interviewed?
Yeah, interviewing. I do not like to be interviewed, except for you got 5 of you guys. That's it. Only exception.
That's the right answer there. All right, no.
Oh, this is the one. Morning show or late show?
Morning show, without a doubt.
Nice.
I don't like this one.
Maine or Rock Road?
Oh, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is where I was born. I'll sing the song. You're Rhode Island born, you're Rhode Island bred, and when you die, you'll be Rhode Island dead. Woo! Go, go, Rhode Island, run. Go, go, Rhode Island, run. Go, Rhode Island. U-R-I. So that was our college theme song. I'm sorry for the singing. My husband will be mortified that that's out there. So anyway, I'm a proud roadie girl, so I have to go with Rhode Island, even though I love Maine.
Maine or Rock Road?
Maine or Rock Road?
Maine.
Okay,
Yeah, great answer.
Thank you. All right, hold it back.
Classic Rock
Speaking
Road.
of music, MPT.
Storm Center music or STRIVECast music?
I have to say that today was the first time I've heard the Strive.
It
Yes,
is a great song.
and it's awesome, so I'm going with that.
Soon it will be sweeping the nation.
It
Yes,
will absolutely be, and with Jeff's air guitar, which I don't know if
Yes.
anybody saw here. Yeah,
They probably didn't see
or
it
whale?
because this is a podcast.
because it's a podcast. I met you guys in the room.
Shark or whale?
Whale,
Hot coffee or cold coffee?
no coffee. I don't
No
drink coffee.
coffee.
But if I had to, it'd be hot.
Swordfish or eel?
Swordfish, without a doubt, on the grill.
Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather.
Ooh, yes.
Sweater or winter coat?
Sweater.
Anchorman.
Oh, Anchorman or Anchorman 2?
Anchorman 1.
Yeah, good answer.
I'm kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know this, but.
You got any off the cuff ones, you guys?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, jeez.
That's correct.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. All right, go
Buckle
ahead.
Oh, buckle up.
So, what's your first lightning round
We got
question?
time for a couple more. Let's-
Yeah.
Unscripted, lightning
Unscripted.
round questions.
Go ahead, ask her another.
Hat or jacket?
Hat. I love hats. I think people need to wear more hats.
Okay.
Think of another one.
She's
If she's Anchorman.
Oh, what about a winter hat or a summer hat?
Good question. Hat question.
I would say a summer hat. On the beach, nice little brim hat, keep the sun out of my eyes. No, that's what I would do.
A flower or a tree?
Flower.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite flower?
You can ask me that. And I always say it wrong. Is it, it's like ranunculus? They're like, look like roses, but
Yeah.
I think it's ranunculus.
That's how I, yeah.
Right? They're so pretty.
What is your favorite kind of water?
Great question.
Favorite kind of water?
Sparkling or still?
Not sparkling, actually. I would say still. I would say Poland Spring.
Classic Maine.
Right?
Boston Red Sox or Astros?
Like there's even, a question. Boston Red Sox. How about that game?
Oh, yes, I know. I thought that's
Right?
right.
Go to the World Series.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
World Series all the way.
That's right.
That's amazing.
All right, how about one more?
One more, Noel. Close it out with the lightning round.
Okay.
Lightning round is slowing down
Slowing
a little
down,
bit
yeah.
from lightning.
Kitties or kids?
Kitties or kids? The age-old question.
Kids.
Kids. Good answer.
You had to think about that.
You really
I
did.
did,
There's some
actually. Yep, I did.
Well, that is all the time we have for the lightning round and all the time we have for our interview. Shannon, thank you so much for being on the STRIVEcast.
This was awesome. This is now my new favorite podcast.
So
And it's
glad.
going to sweep the nation very soon. And you guys are awesome. Noel,
Thank you.
Jeff,
Thank
all
you.
of you. Yes.
You want to thank
Thank
Shannon
you.
for being here?
Oh, I had another we talked about. I remember that time when at the 5K scene when we dunked you in the tub.
You had to bring that up, didn't you? Yes, Noel, I do remember that. Remember how cold it was that day?
Yeah.
Yes. As he has a huge smile on
Yes.
his face.
Got dunked
Yes.
in the dunk tank at our
I
Strive
did.
5K.
But you know what?
Okay.
I would do it again for Strive.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Noel, that Shannon's been a long-term friend of Strive, an FOS, if you will, for many, many years, and we thank her for her continued support and coming on the STRIVEcast this morning.
Absolutely.
So,
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
It's
you,
awesome.
Shannon.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Come back anytime.
I
Come
will.
back anytime.
Not gonna be able to get rid of me now.
I'm probably done.
And we'll be right back. And we're back, and it is time for Words of Wisdom with Jeff and Noel. Noel, do you want to start us off today with your words of wisdom?
Oh yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you report the anchor, life is not short, but
Jeff, over to you.
Okay.
What do you got for some words of wisdom? Noel, you think about that, we'll come back to
The
you.
words of wisdom for me, always be happy and always enjoy the fall.
Good
All
one.
right, very seasonal words
Yes.
of wisdom today.
Noel, you want to finish that thought?
yes.
Go ahead.
Life is a cookie, but in doing the falls, be happy and showing this support.
Great
All right.
words of wisdom, gentlemen. Thank you for sharing. We will be right back.
The STRIVEcast is brought to you by Bangor Savings Bank, who was the title sponsor of our auction this year. Thank you.
All right, well, that is all the time we have today for the STRIVEcast. Thank you so much to Shannon Moss, our guest, for joining us today. Jeff, Noel, any parting words you want to leave with our listeners today?
If it's for the anchor person, so
We're really on anchor persons today.
Well, it kind of goes with the theme of the
Sure
show.
it does.
if you're big, you fall.
More words of wisdom.
But if you're not big, get back up again and take what you got and fly with it.
Amazing.
Wow.
Could have used
Double
that during
dose
words of wisdom.
of words of wisdom today.
Jeff.
Any parting comments?
Oh yes.
Anything you'd like to say to our listeners?
Yes, listeners. When life puts you down, always get back up.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
If you wouldn't mind, if you've stuck with us through this whole episode, we appreciate it. And you can give us a review or leave some comments on ratings on iTunes. We'd really appreciate that. Or you can also share this via social media as we are trying to spread the word about the STRIVEcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Noel is yawning and saying yes. Thank you so much to our multi-talented producer, Whitney, who helps make the show happen, and our incredibly talented engineer, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, for putting it all together. And for Jeff, Noel, Pete,
Time to wrap it up.
wrap
Noel?
it up.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up! Wrap it up!
Noel is petting my head.
Must be time to wrap it up.
Time to wrap
Thanks
it
for
up.
listening.
Goodbye,
Catch you next
everyone.
time.
Thank you.
Next time.
Bye.
Wee. That's what we have to folks.